Okay, welcome to my screencast about using Bloom's taxonomy to create a travel project to work on with your kids as you travel around. Whether you're travelling just for a weekend and you want to add a bit of educational content to your travels, whether you want your kids to just think a bit more deeply about what it is that you've seen and done, or whether you are going on some long-term travel and you want to keep up with your children's schooling, using Bloom's taxonomy is a really great way to provide learning that is flexible, that is open, and that your children can do individually or with you, with your help, or together even as a whole family. Now, the really great thing about Bloom's taxonomy is that it helps us organise the learning of our kids and of ourselves from remembering all the way through to creating. And the depth of learning changes as we think more deeply about something. The theory is, and we know from our own experience as adults, that the more deeply we think about something, the more familiar we become with that topic, with that knowledge, with that information, and the more flexibly we are able to use that information to help ourselves in our real lives. So you will have read the post already about Bloom's taxonomy. You will know that remembering is the most basic form of learning, a bit like rote learning, I guess, through to understanding, getting deeper again, applying, deeper thinking, analysing, even deeper, evaluating, and all the way up to creating. Now, if you're a learner who has the ability to take information from a variety of sources, some things that don't match at all, and put them together to create something new and exciting, or something that works, something that's practical, then you are a deep thinker and you're a learner who has taken your learning to the ultimate level. Now, of course, we want our children to be able to do this as well, and so using Bloom's taxonomy to set up activities, if you like, or ways of looking at learning can help them to make those deeper connections and lead them through to creating, rather than just remembering information. So I've put here 3 different activities under each of the headings, just so you can see that we might not necessarily just put one activity under each one. And then by having 3 activities, or you could see there's space obviously for more down below in my Word document here, that you could give your children the choice. So they may not particularly like the idea of memorising 10 place names, but they might like the idea of singing a song that they've memorised out loud, that you might have been singing as you travel around, or that they might have heard on the radio. So you could ask your kids to choose one from each of the columns. You could ask them to do all of them. You could ask them to choose any of the 15 that they want to do, depending on what they feel like doing. And by letting them have that choice, you can see what it is that they prefer to do. They may prefer to evaluate a particular situation rather than just try and memorise facts. So it will give you a picture of where their learning is at in terms of a particular topic. And you'll also see in here that this is a generic project that you could really just use with any learners that are able to read and write. But I've put in Australia Zoo a couple of times, which you could obviously change to whatever place you've been to recently that your kids really liked, or you really liked going to. So you really could tailor this to suit your needs for whatever. I've done a generic one, but of course you could do a specific travel one just on vehicles that people use to travel, for example, or you could do one that has nothing to do with travelling and just have it focusing on animals, for example, if that's really your kids' passion is all about animals. You could create one for them just by doing that. Now, the other thing that I've tried to do by having a choice of activities here under each heading is to try to meet the needs of learners that perhaps aren't so keen on writing, or perhaps don't write that well. So, for some of them I've got a family debate. That could just be talking, it doesn't have to be anything that's written down. So that's pretty straightforward. Making up a story about yourself, that could just be imagination and then telling the rest of the family in the car as you drive along. Creating a logo, could be drawing, using Play-Doh, using 3D construction materials. Making collage is more like artwork. So I've tried to show a variety of tasks in here that you are probably doing with your kids anyway as you travel around, but I've put it within this structure of Bloom's taxonomy just so that you can see how deeply some learning happens and how superficially some learning can happen. So good luck.